somebody else would say to us, we should know by now, I started to think like maybe I should have knew by now. You know what I'm saying? But then after I've been through what I've been through and I really thought about it, I understood why the kids, that's their response. It's because they so worried about what's going on from to the right and to the left and trying to make good of that they're not really thinking about their future and what they want to do or really realizing their potential because they over here and this person is going all out for them, want so much for them, but then they go over here and this person don't really care about them. And they thinking that this person's supposed to care about them. So when they look at it like that, now they like, why they don't care about me? And that's when they start to question their self-worth.
Yep, and it begins with self, because you can have somebody rooting for you like crazy, but if you don't know what you want and you don't know what you're capable of, you have no path, no guidance, no plan, who's gonna do it for you? The person that's rooting for you? It's your life at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So you have to start something, and then we can reinforce, we can encourage, we can support. But if you're not putting that first foot forward, which a lot of these kids don't even know where to start.
Correct.
It's kind of like all in vain, you know? Correct. Yeah.
And me and D came up with the slogan, be the change that you want to see. And we like real life live by that because it was like, all right, I want things to change in the neighborhood so that as the kids are coming up, it won't be so hard for them. And that will involuntarily get other people's help if we start shaking up the neighborhood and not kicking people out or this, that, and the third, but shaking it up so that
new energy.
Right. That's on the money. New energy in the neighborhood. Because we remember when we was younger in the neighborhood, of course it was still considered the hood. It was low income. Yes, there was violence. Yes, there was drugs. But it wasn't as soulless. Like if you go to the neighborhoods now, it feels as if there's no soul there. It feels as if there's no love there. And that's why I was like, even back then when we was younger in the hood, even though it was bad things going on, you still could feel the love there. You still could feel that it was soul there. You still felt that there was people there that cared. Now it don't feel that way, so now that's why people don't understand why the older people look at this generation like they're careless and disrespectful, and, you know what I'm saying? Because they feel like people turn their back on them. And so they're
crying out for help, but in the wrong way.
It's human nature for teens to rebel, and I feel like if parents and older people like expect that and embrace the rebellion, them rebelling, then it wouldn't be so much of a fight because you know what's gonna come. Because you're used to one thing and they're growing up, becoming their own person, and they're gonna feel a different way. We're humans. We're gonna disagree. You can't even though you're the parent, we're the parents. We can't always be like, this is what I want. This is how it's gonna go. This is what it's gonna be. Want me to tell you why that can't happen? Because they have to live another life of their own.
And you have to make space for them to blossom. You know, even though you may not agree with it, you could have been a Democrat, a firm Democrat, go to church every single Sunday. Your kid isn't allowed to eat meat. And your kid might say, I don't believe in God, I'm a Republican, and I am a meat lover. You can't be mad at them. You know what I mean? This is them. This is the person they want to be. And if you continue to shut that down, imagine what that does to them when they go out into society.
And that was one thing I love about my mother. Growing up, excuse me, my mother and my grandmother had us in the church, front row. We was Christians all our life. Christians all our life. As I was growing up, I had one uncle that was a Muslim. He used to always talk to us about it, take us to the masjid here and there. It was usually around this time, Ramadan time, because I remember there used to always be food there in the evening. So we used to like to go there sometimes. I ended up, as I got older, started to look into it myself, read up on it myself, and I started to believe things more in the Quran. So I converted to Islam. Told my mother. My mother didn't like, oh no, you're a Christian, or did not care. She asked me questions at times. One thing about her is she just wanted to know that it was something that was gonna bring me peace and at least that I know that there's a higher power. And another incident was my sister being gay. A lot of people would have shunned their daughter. No, my mother just embraced her with all love because she knew that we was gonna have to grow up and blossom into the people, the growing up adults who we are. She did her part in raising us to get here. That's what the parents' job is: raise them to get here, and then let them be their own person. They're gonna work. People are gonna make mistakes. It's gonna happen. My mother didn't judge me not one bit when I was in the hospital bed. She was right there by the side. When I opened my eyes, that was the very first person I saw. That was the very first person I saw. I saw my mother, then I looked to my left, and I seen my girlfriend at the time. I seen her right to who's also the mother of my child, my firstborn. I looked to my left, and I seen her, and I was just like, what's going on? But I could see that everybody's eyes was full of tears, and I was strapped to the bed because they were saying that as I was slipping out of the coma that I was like wilding out or whatever, and it was hard for them to minister the IVs and medicine and stuff, and I was strapped to the bed. I had an IV and my IV tube in my neck. I still got the dang on mark that I be feeling it sometimes. It be feeling like something's in my neck when I go to sleep. I had one in my arm. My hands was swollen and was yellow. My eyes was yellow. My whole right side, just head down, wasn't working. So, and I didn't even realize that. What happened was I had a catheter. And they ended up taking it out. So now I can use the bathroom the regular way. I wasn't really drinking or eating nothing. But I had to drink something occasionally to take the medicine they was giving me. So I ended up taking the medicine, and like a little bit later I had to go bathroom. So I called the nurse. The nurse like, okay, come on. So the nurse like helped me out the bed, and when I stood up, it was something right here. So I was kind of already leaning to my left side. So when I went to go step, I was on step with my right side. I was step with my right leg and my right arm. I couldn't move it. So I'm like, oh. So at first, like, I didn't want to say nothing because I thought that maybe it was just my body was still a little asleep because I had been laying down for 3 days straight. You know what I'm saying? No, I tried to lean to that side and I was like ready to fall over. So I'm like, no, something ain't right. So I look over at my mother and I'm like, I'm telling her I'm scared because now I'm thinking like, damn, you done really messed yourself up. This is how you gonna be for the rest of your life. I'm like, Ma, my whole right side not working. She was touching my toes, I couldn't feel it. Poking my arm, I couldn't feel it. She like, lift your left arm up. I lift it up. She like, lift your right arm up. I'm like, I am. I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking I am. Nothing's moving. So I'm like, I don't know. They tell the nurse, they take me do CAT scans and stuff. That's when they seen the hole on my brain. And they like, that usually happens when somebody has a stroke or has epilepsy. They know I didn't have none of that, so they was running all these tests just to make sure I didn't have none of that going on. And they was like, as that continuously healed, my memory would get better. But what people didn't realize is, and that all this really stemmed from depression. It really stemmed from depression. I spent a long time depressed. And
that was your outlet, the drugs were your outlet.
And it wasn't, and that's what, it got to a point to where as though I wasn't really taking the Percocets and drinking the lean because I was dying to get high or anything. Of course I got high off it, but it wasn't like my first objective. My first objective was taking it because it numbed me. You know what I'm saying? Like it numbed me and I was still comfortable numb. So I spent a long time like not feeling anything emotionally, physically, you know what I'm saying? And that's just, I was a walking zombie pretty much. And I was cool with that because I wasn't hurting at the time. And it got to the point to where as though like, I started to really depend on the drugs to really keep me numb because there was so much going on that I was running from. And sitting in that hospital bed, you start to think like, That's not you. You running from a problem or running from something or someone. That's not you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, you stand up to what's going on, whether it's adversity, whether it's a fight, whether you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, you stand up to it. That's you. But the past 2-3 years or so, you've been just running
Right.
and making things worse and worse, really. So
Just letting it all build up.
right, and I I tell men now, especially black men, that for one, change is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean change, I mean like progression, like growth. That's not a bad thing. That's not changing who you are. That's developing who you are. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, it's nothing wrong with getting your mental checked out. Because for one thing for sure, two things for certain. You can have the best health in the world. You can have the best looks in the world. If your mind not right, if your mental is messed up, you're doomed. You're gonna be lost. You're gonna end up just crashing and burning at some point in time. And that's what it was. I had all the potential in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was set up for me to win, except my head was messed up. And that's what ultimately put me in the spot that I was at. I wasn't physically hurt. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, none of that. I was more so mentally messed up and trying to fight the depression on my own and thinking that, oh, I'll be weak if I go see a therapist, or I got trust issues, so I'm not gonna be able to open up to them because I don't trust them, I don't know them, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But, excuse me, I was forced into basically having that therapy because now, once I ended up in the hospital, now everybody know that I have a problem. So now everybody want to know what's the problem is and how can we fix it. So now I'm forced to talk about, I'm forced to let all this out. And at the same time, now people are also letting their problems out with me, letting me know how they felt and what I was doing that I didn't notice, because I was really pushing people away that really cared and didn't even notice. Bad attitude, was always irritated and mad and antisocial sometimes, and you know what I'm saying? It was just, but I didn't realize that was the person I was growing to be when I really knew, because I knew I wasn't that person. But that's the things that these drugs do to you. It starts to change you, but you're so numb that you don't even realize it.
Yep.
And people don't even realize, like, I physically, like, I'm one of them people that I think I look good. You know what I'm saying?
He's an attractive guy.
I got all the confidence in the world, so I look in the mirror a lot. Look in the mirror a lot. I'm brushing my hair. I might just want to look at myself. I look in my mirror all the time. For a good year or so, I really did not like looking in the mirror. Like, I could be brushing my teeth and I'll stay bent down like this so I don't have to look in the mirror. And that was the first time I actually understood the phrase when somebody said, what they tell you, don't do it if you can't look yourself in the mirror afterwards.
You didn't like what you were seeing in the
Right.
mirror. You low-key felt what you were becoming,
Right.
but you were in denial.
Right. And somebody was joking with me one day. I asked him, we was joking around, I'm like, have you ever looked the devil in the eyes? And the girl said, yeah, you. And I swear to you, I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, yo, you just really look real evil. Like, you don't, like, and that was one of the reasons why I did not like looking in the mirror at that time. It was like my whole image, like the way my eyes and my pupils were always dilated and low. I had the cruddy bush. I didn't care. I wore black all day. I always had a ski mask on. When I was out in public, I never looked like I was comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just worried about so much stuff that I was involved in.
Paranoid.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So
I know somebody going through that right now. I hope he's gonna watch this.
So it's like, and that's why I end up going back to looking at the pictures, because now, of course, you can't get me out the mirror. And now when I'm looking at the pictures, it's like I start to see it more and more. Like, now you can see where that type of energy was getting out of you.
Right.
Not saying that I don't, like I said, not saying that I don't have bad days. Not saying that people don't piss me off or I don't get angry, or, you know what I'm saying? I'm still human. That still happens. But ultimately, when I wake up, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. Because it used to be times where I would wake up and I'd be like, great, I survived another night. Like, wow. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, hoping that I didn't wake up or waking up and I have no clue what I'm depressed about.
Right.
And that was the thing. That's what made me realize that depression and mental health is real. Because I want to say 50 to 60% of the time when I wake up depressed, it wouldn't even be because something happened or something went wrong. That's just the emotion that God gave me that morning. And I used to be like, yo, wow, like why I can't get out of this funk. You know what I'm saying? And me thinking that the drugs is numbing me, for a second it was, but ultimately in the long run, it was just making it worse because my depression started to increase because of the drugs.
Yep.
And that's
And it's just like a cycle of turmoil. You just spinning out of control. You spinning until you just lose control. And honestly, the people, like you said, you realize that you were hurting people around you and they brought those things to your attention. The people that really care about you, they pick up on those things immediately because they know who you really are. They know that you're really a good person. And they start seeing when you start, moving crazy, you're looking crazy. There's things that you used to put so much effort into. Now all of a sudden you don't. But the thing is, people still have themselves to worry about. So we can try and help, we can make suggestions, but if you are still spiraling, sometimes the best thing to do is let that, play out. And then once you come to your senses, we can say, okay, this is what we noticed. This is how you can maybe change. This is what you did to hurt us. So it sounds like that's exactly what happened with you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that is necessary. But like I said, I'm so glad that you have found your true self, or that you revisited your true self, because you were never gone.
Right.
You were just masked. And I'm glad you took that mask off.
Yeah, I had to, because that that situation was just so crazy. And sometimes when I sit there and think about it, and I don't only think about that day, I think about the days that led up to it, the week or so before led up to it. Man, it was wild. Like the week before that, I had got a call that my friends who I can look at like brothers, we call each other brothers, that everybody was talking about me and all this other stuff. So I was like on edge, like, you know what, F y'all, I'm good. I don't need nobody. Like I said, me and my girl, we was all messed up. Me and my mother, we was on bad terms at the time, like not really speaking to each other, because me and my mother talk every day. Even if I'm not home, I still talk to my mother throughout the day. So we wasn't really speaking, and that always messes me up. When me and my mother even argue or get into whatever, it always messes me up. So a couple days after I heard it, everybody was talking, whatever, two of my best friends who were like my brothers to me, they came down Eastport and was talking to me, and basically like, man, we tired of hearing all this negativity about you. We know you got a problem. This is the help that I'm offering, which was rehab. Either take it or leave it. So I'm like, man, I'm good. Like, I'm putting on the front. I know I'm messed up. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm messed up. I'm good. I'm good. So my one homeboy, who's basically like my older brother for real, he's my kid's godfather, I'm his kid's godfather. That we like blood couldn't make us any closer. He looked at me, he was like, man, either you gonna take the help or it's F you. Like, plain and simple. He said, I'm done with it. I'm tired of hearing all this negativity. I'm tired of keep trying to help, and then you just keep spitting in my face with it, this and the third. So I looked at him, I said, do what you gotta do. And he was like, all right, and he walked away, and I went my way. I was steaming inside. Cause that's like my brother.
Right.
Like, we real blood couldn't make us any closer.
And even still, you couldn't find it in yourself to...
Right, just put my pride to the side for a second. So that Thursday, back to that Thursday, I went, or was it Friday? No, it was Friday, I'm sorry, it was that Friday. I went to the mall with a couple of my other homeboys, and we went and got some clothes because it was Memorial Day weekend or whatever. And we go back to the house, and some more of our friends and our little clique showed up. my one homeboy who had said, if I don't take the help, F you or whatever, he was there. So I go in a circle and I dap all my homeboys up. He was the last person. When I get to him, he just looked at me and he put his hand up. When I'm trying to tell you, I sat back in the chair, my emotions was like, part of me wanted to just steal him, and part of me wanted to cry because I was hurt. Like I was real, like it was so, like them was my only two emotions at the time, but I would always fight back the tears because everything was starting to like hurt me. Like everything started to feel like it was so powerful. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't oh, this just a little pinch of a hurt. No, everything felt like it was a gut punch.
Right.
So when he stick his hand, I'm like, maybe he really saying F me. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe he really meant that.
Maybe people finally reached their breaking point.
Right. So he was like, when I came out of the coma, which I don't even remember saying this, my mother said I was just asking for people. I was like, where's Kendra? And my mother was like, she right there. I'm like, where's my brothers? They out there. I'm asking for my homeboy. I'm like, where's Pete? And my mother said that they told me that he wasn't there. And she was like, I started crying or something. And then the nurse was like, just calm down. And then I ended up falling back to sleep because they had me sedated so much. So I ended up falling back to sleep. And then I remember waking up. He was sitting in a chair and we was talking. And at the time, I never knew like what time of day it was when he came there. He came in the middle of the night. And when we talked about it after the fact, he was still mad at me because he knew like, he was mad at me because he was like, yo, I know I just offered him help like a couple days before that. And then this turnaround happened, he was mad at me. Plus he said he was under the weather, he was sick. So he was like, but he could not sleep. He said he couldn't get me off his brain. He was like, he just kept feeling like this could be the last time that I ever see my little brother again. Cause he thought that I was still in the coma. And he didn't know what was happening. But when I got there, they told him like, he's out of the coma. So he finally came and seen me, and whole time it was in the middle of the night. And after that, me and him talked about it, and we got deep into how I was feeling, and he told me why he said what he said and all that. And you ultimately realize that when they put tough in front of the word love, as tough love, that's exactly what it means. Yep. And that's exactly how it gotta be. Sometimes giving somebody else tough love hurts you to dish it out. But sometimes that's exactly what's needed. And me, I'm so much of a stand on my own type person that was the only love that I was gonna be able to receive. Because if you come at me soft-hearted,
you're not gonna listen.
It ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna listen. I'm too not hard-headed, but I was too stuck in my ways at the time to listen. Because I'm willing to learn from anybody. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I was so on defense mode. It was so me against the world at the time that anything anybody else said, if it wasn't you giving me something, which I wasn't looking for no handout, but that's the only way I looked at it. If you wasn't about to come change my situation, like right off the bat, then I ain't want it.
Right.
Because everything else felt like you was looking at me like I needed a handout or was trying to talk down on me. When really you just could see, everybody could see what I didn't see. So, but like you said, that it all comes full circle, and then that's where me and D come into play for most of these youths. We see what they don't see. We feel and see the potential that they don't see. So that's why sometimes we are really hard on them. One thing we big on with our youth is discipline, because that's what a lot of them don't have. And discipline don't mean they need beatings or nothing like that. Discipline is just structure, sticking to something. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you give yourself a meal prep and you line that meal prep up for Monday through Friday, but Wednesday you got a taste for something else and you see that pizza, if you don't got no discipline, you're gonna crack.
Right.
And it's something as simple as that can give you an outlook on how your life is gonna be. If you don't have no discipline, you're gonna be all over the place. And being all over the place leaves too many risks of you possibly landing up in a 6-foot ditch or behind a 4x4 cell. It's too many ways that you can end up like that. And by the grace that I didn't end up, not saying that I've never been there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, luckily that I still have my freedom and I still have breath in my body,
and you got your second chance, so
correct. And I try to make the best out of it.
If you can do anything to help make sure other people get their second chance or even don't need a second chance,
Right.
that would definitely be helpful.
That's like my ultimate. That's like me and the ultimate goal is to basically have it so that these kids don't end up needing a second chance. Hopefully, everybody's not perfect. We do understand that. We do understand that everybody's not gonna grasp to it right away. Some people got to learn stuff the hard way.
Yep.
That's just how life is. We do understand that. But our first initial goal is to get these kids on the path to where they don't need a second chance. But then, if it do end up that way and they need a second chance, be there to show them that you don't, everybody don't get a second chance, but if you're given one, make
Take
the most out of it.
advantage, yeah.
There's no way that I was given the chance that I was given and I wasn't gonna make good of it. It was no way that I was gonna do that. It was no way. Because I understood how close I was to not being able to do this interview with you, to not being able to see my kids again, to me just being on a t-shirt or obituary. I did understand that. I felt it when the doctor told me all the hairs on my arms stood up. Like, huh?
Yeah.
Like it don't register you right away, but when you repeat those words verbatim back to you, it's like, damn, like, my mother was almost ready to be making funeral plans, having to cash in an insurance policy. Like it was like this is a certain situation, like we here. But everybody don't. It's like after a while, things become a routine. You go to sleep, you wake up. You go to sleep, you wake up. You start to take stuff for granted, not intentionally, but you become used to something.
Yep.
And when you become used to something, it's only bound. It's only human nature that even for a little bit, unless something or someone brings it to your attention that you're gonna take it for granted. That's like even your significant other. You may not intentionally mean to, but if every day when I wake up, you making breakfast for 2 years straight, every day I wake up, you make me breakfast. We eat breakfast together, we give each other a kiss, and we go to work. Say I love you and we go to work. If it's like that every day for 2 years straight, it's not that I'm intentionally taking it for granted, but I'm used to that now.
Right.
So now I expect it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens with life.
Yep.
Is you unintentionally take it for granted because you're so used to, oh, I done cut myself before, or I done got sick before, took some medicine and was
I
better.
healed, yeah.
I healed. I go to sleep. I wake up. I go to sleep. I wake up. Nah, it don't always work that way. You could be perfectly fine, go to sleep, and not wake up.
Yep.
One of my closest friends, she a female, to the point that we've been so close for so long that everybody really think we brothers and sisters. I love her like a sister, like a big sister. Monday night, we had just talked to her mother, seen her mother and all that. Perfectly fine. Laughing, joking, normal self, not thinking nothing of it. I'm at work, I get a call like, hey, check on your sister, I'm worried about her. She's not answering the phone, from several people. But I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what's going on? I'm trying to call my sister not answering, I'm getting worried. I leave work, get down the road, come to find out, she found her mother passed. Her mother had passed in her sleep. But it's just stuff like that. Like, it could be, I could come in the house and I could be heading upstairs to my room, and my mother might be like, you don't want to sit downstairs with me? And sometimes I'd be tired, and I'd be like, Ma, what are we really gonna do sometimes? And then sometimes I catch myself like, you know what, it don't even matter.
Right.
Let me just come lay across this couch, because the same thing I'm gonna do upstairs, lay across my bed and either be on my phone or watch TV or something, I could do down here with you.
Yeah.
This means so much more to you than me doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that it's one day where, I hope that I never had to see it, but there's gonna be one day where you may not be here with me, or I may not be here with you. So you
take
cherish stuff
advantage,
like
yeah.
that. Right, right. And even down to my kids, it could be little petty stuff that I might be like, Cassidy or Michaela, you can do that yourself. But really, they just want daddy to do it with them.
Right.
And for a second, I might be, I don't feel like doing it, but then my mind will be like, come on, Dad. And I catch myself and I'll go do it. And I look at a lot of stuff like that. Like I don't think I cherish the small things then as much as I do now. I didn't. Like I think all that stuff was just expected to me. But now I just cherish stuff a lot different now. I really do.
Well, I appreciate you, Deshaun. That was an awesome segment. I
got
hope
a
you
big
guys,
mouth, don't I? Talk too much.
we both do. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. I'm gonna tag Deshawn's. I know you have Instagram and Facebook. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
I don't really get on nothing else.
So I'll tag his Instagram and Facebook so you guys can go check him out, follow him. Also, if anyone wants to help with mentoring or reach out to you guys, where can you be found? Just at your Facebook?
Yeah, you can either message me on my Facebook or you can message my partner D Ward on Facebook. His name is D Ward, D-E-E Ward, W-A-R-D.
Okay, perfect. So guys, see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please share my content as well, because after all, my channel is made for everyone to grow, evolve, love, and become a great person together, right? So we can't do that unless we share this content. So go ahead and do that for me. Thank you. Peace. See you next time.